have been following all of the recent drama. What I haven't been doing is making videos on her. If anyone knows how I can get her book, it's called Tease. I would love to get my finners on that book. But 101 Poems to Jason Nash, something like that. I don't think that was the official title, but I also have that book, which is really, really deep. 3.5 pages is what I'm going to read. And many places in the book, you'll see some, like I've read it before. Okay, so The History of My Insanity by Trisha Paytas. Anyone who has dealt with personal, career, or spiritual struggles can find hope in the history of my insanity. Wow. So, we're just in the back of the book, and it says that if you are a person who has dealt with some struggles, with your personal struggles, your career, or spiritual, you're going to find hope in this book? Wow. Okay. Find hope in the history of my insanity. It's raw, it's graphic, it's real life. This modern day Cinderella rags to riches story is far from over. Well, ain't that the truth? Chapter 1, The Birth of a Legend. Okay, so, I do want to get through the book. I'm sorry, but she titled her chapter 1, The Birth of a Legend. Okay. So maybe legend is a bit of a stretch. After all, what exactly have I done in my 24 years of existence? I would say I'm working on my plan to waste my entire life, but alas, this is not true either. I want to make something of myself, leave a mark on this world. I've already posed naked, so now it's time to strip back and give you the history of my insanity. How do these things start? Wow, I haven't read a book since I dropped out of college. No, that's a lie. I read those 50 Shades book. By the way, this is me writing this, no ghostwriter, no recording device. Now see, when someone does that, by the way, this is me writing this, no ghostwriter, like, why are you explaining this? I would have never thought that someone else would have written this. It's like, it's just a sentence in there, just some random sentence. It's Friday night and I'm all alone, so I thought, why not just crank out my autobiography tonight? Yes, I'm motivated like that. I digress. Trisha K. Paytas was born May 8, 1988 in Riverside, California, to parents Frank Jude and Lena K. Paytas. She had a pleasant childhood, a middle-class upbringing with stable parents, and a happy heart until she turned 3 years old when her life plummeted. Okay. Before we finish chapter 1, you will clearly see that the mother wasn't stable. Okay, I can't say anything about the father, but the mother, you're in for quite a treat. Okay, too morbid, too self-deprecating. Well, this book is all about Trish, my feelings, and how I perceive things. Should I give away the ending? No, just keep reading. Okay, so here we go. She says, this book is all about Trish, my feelings, and how I perceive things. We're not finished with page 1. Has anything changed from 8-9 years ago? This is Trisha writing these words. Okay? My parents divorced when I was 3 years old. Now let's try and remember some of these numbers. Anything with numbers. When it comes to numbers, that's when Trisha gets a little confused, okay? I know of And you know what? Who am I? I might be wrong, but I know of twice that she went into the mental hospital. Not 3 times and not 4 times. Once she started the Freminies, it turned from 2 to 3. And maybe I missed something. I didn't know. I said, okay, well, maybe I missed a time that she went to the mental hospital, because I know she went when she was 18 years old from Hollywood, when her dad had to come to her apartment and rescue her. So you guys, if you know that story, let me know down below. That she went there, at that time, and then she went from the time that we know with Jason and David Dobrik that showed up to the hospital, and then that whole thing happened. Those are the only 2 times. So when it comes to numbers, we need to pay special attention. Okay, sorry about all that. I hope that's okay. I hope you guys enjoy when I do that, but I know a lot. My parents divorced when I was 3 years old. I can't give details because anyone with divorced parents know there are 500 sides to every story. My dad will say my mom cheated, and my mom will say dad refused to move back to Illinois with us. Whatever the case may be, I decided to stop caring why really early on. I advise anyone with divorced parents to do the same. It's not worth the fights and getting upset. You will love both of your parents regardless. No point in trying to figure out who was the evil one who broke up the happy home. So at 3 years old, my mom moved my brother, Nick, and me back to Illinois, and I have to assume that my father was okay with it at the time and moved with us, as there are laws for taking children out of the state, blah, blah, blah. He said he couldn't find work back there, and so he moved to California without us. Herein lies the beginning of my abandonment issues. Dad, if you're reading this, I don't blame you. Well, at least not anymore. I held grudges against my dad for many years. More on this later. Both my brother and I have been to therapy regarding feeling abandoned by our father, but let's just be clear. Our mother was no saint either. I suppose we're all a little hard on our parents, but I'm pretty sure my mental illness developed after birth as part of nurture over nature. Okay, that's interesting right there. Okay, so Trisha really feels that her mental illness began after birth because, as she said earlier, both her parents were stable. According to Trisha, okay, her dad has only really done one thing wrong. And I might be wrong. Maybe there's some other things. We're going to go through this together. And that one thing was that he left. He left the Lena and let me think. Oh, and Trisha and Nick. I guess Callie hadn't been born yet, right? So he left and he moved to California, and because he couldn't find work. That's about it. Because I can't think of anything else that Trisha has said that her father has done. Seeing as I can't remember much before 5 years of age, let's fast forward. My dad is in California while my brother, mother, and I are in Illinois. Northern Illinois is where my mother had grown up and where her family was at the time. It was at this time my mom met my first stepfather, her third husband, and second baby daddy. Are you confused yet? I sure was. Am something. The only good thing I can say about this man is that he gave my family and me our little sister, Callie. I love Callie more than anything now, but at the time, I remember resenting her. I think I resented her for about 18 years. Ding, ding, ding. The second theme of this book, English majors, it's resentment. Our abandonment issues, and now we have resentment. Let's keep going, shall we? Okay, so she's got her abandonment issues. That's what she felt. Her and her brother Nick both have gone to therapy for the abandonment issues that they felt when their dad left. Trisha is saying here that for the first 18 years she resented Callie, right? But resented her why? Why did I don't know why. Okay. Oh, this is kind of sad. Look, you guys, I highlighted it. This is kind of sad. Okay. So I don't know if Trisha means that the first 18 years she was mean to Callie, but she certainly said that she resented her. And she says here, I made faces at her in the crib, and growing up, I made her play second fiddle to me. It was also at this time when I was 5 that I remember developing my love for entertaining and acting, or as my mom referred to it, lying. I would make up crazy stories and tell my mom about finding Native American ghosts in our backyard, or about me discovering I was a witch and had magical spells. My mom put liquid dish soap in my mouth for every lie I told. I told a lot. My imagination was wild. I don't, something in me really hits hard. I don't believe that the mother put dish soap in her mouth. I do not. This is something that used to be said and talked about a lot when Trisha was younger, about putting dish soap in children's mouth. It's just something that was said a lot. Maybe she did, but that's to me, that's insane. That's really insane. To put dish soap in your child's mouth? I don't understand. What is the child supposed to do? Swallow it? Or, I don't get it. Go and rinse out at the sink. The whole thing is barbaric. So, I just don't want to believe that any parent would put dish soap in their child's mouth. And I don't know. If you think that happened to you, or if you know that happened to you, please share down below, because I want to know. I never had any friends all through elementary school. Before I was in the first grade, we had already moved from one hillbilly town to the next. It was hard for me to make friends. Nobody wanted to play with me, so I played by myself. In later years at elementary school, I made up stories about my father because kids made fun of me for not having him around. Now there you go. See, how are kids gonna know that your dad is not around at home? First of all, she said she didn't have any friends in elementary school, so she's not really, talking to them. How do they know that her dad is nowhere around? Okay, so I would say he was a super rich producer in Los Angeles, or a spy, or anything that would make them like me. I also said I had a twin sister, Trixie, who lived with him. I would tell kids he had a stage in his house for when I come over, and he'd buy me whatever I wanted, which he actually did. And that wasn't very smart. That was not a good parenting thing to do. Buy your child anything they want. That's not good. So, there you go. That's another thing about her dad, right? Okay. Neither my father nor my mother was rich for the first half of my life, but they sure made it seem that way. That's nice. That is nice. That's nice. I like that. The parents made it seem like they were rich, but they're not. My mom took us shopping and out to eat and to the movies on the weekend, and my dad flew back to see us once a month, and she felt abandoned. See how that doesn't make sense? How do you feel abandoned when you know that in 3 weeks you're going to see your dad again? Okay? When feelings of abandonment, that's not feeling abandoned. Feelings of abandonment is when you're abandoned. You're given up. You're thrown away like garbage. You're just left. And no one ever sees you. That person never sees you again. You're abandoned. This girl said that Trisha says that she felt abandoned when her father moved to California, and now she says my dad flew back to see us once a month. When my dad took me shopping, he bought me everything I wanted. My greatest trick was at the toy store. I would say, Dad, I can't decide if I want to get this doll or that doll, and he'd tell me to get both. But why would you have to do the trick if you can get whatever you wanted in the first place? You said that your dad will buy you anything you want and whatever you guys wanted to eat. And now she says she would do this trick with her dad. Oh, do we have another issue to add to Trisha's list of problems? Why, yes, we do. Shopping, addiction, and attachment. It made me happy instantly and fixed my doubts or problems I had with my father. My mother got so furious with all the boys we brought home. My mom got so furious with all the toys. I said, boys. Okay. My mom got so furious with all the toys we brought home. She said he was doing it because he felt guilty for leaving us. If I make people feel guilty, I get things? Awesome. A wonderful life lesson taught by my mother. Make people feel guilty and you will get things. My first stepfather was in and out of our house in his relationship with my mom. I recall my brother Nick calling the cops on him for getting physical with my mother. I remember my mother saying awful things about him. Long story short, he had an affair with my mom's sister. I think that was pretty much the end of that. So that was her first stepfather. Cut to Trish, age 10. Enter middle school. Enter stepdad number 2, only a few months after the official split from stepdad number 1. Stepdad number 2 was a mess. He was old with no teeth. Later in life, I asked my mother, why this guy? Her answer about him, as well as all the other men she married, was financial reasons. It's a sad truth. I don't judge her. I appreciate her honesty. All sarcasm aside, it did teach me a really important life lesson early on, which was to make my own money and rely on no one else, a concept I understood but couldn't carry out. This was a time when I thought my father has the hero. I imagined that one day I would move to California and live the life of a child star, with my dad buying me everything I wanted, and I would just live my dreams of performing. Every Easter, summer, and Christmas, I flew to California with Nick, and we lived every child's fantasy every day. We went to amusement parks every week, rode in limousines to look at Christmas lights, ate fast food and donuts all the time, and went shopping to toy stores whenever we wanted. My dad spoiled us, but all the while he was working on his startup company for 19 hours a day and living off of credit cards. Unlike my mother, my dad was really good at not introducing us to random people he dated. He was very cautious about who he let into our lives. I had met 2 girlfriends of my dad's since he and my mom split up, and they were pleasant enough, but my attachment to my mom was so strong. I just wanted them to go away. Plus, every child of divorce's fantasy is that their parents will get back together. So having a possible threat come in was no bueno. The last one he dated was very nice to us at first, especially me. While my brother and father would go play golf, she'd take me shopping and go do girly things. I appreciated this so much because I was super spoiled and did not want to do anything that was not fun for me. Has anything changed? Of course, with each step parent who came into the picture, keep in mind each parent was interrogating me for any wrongdoing by the opposite step parent. The competition to be the best parent or have an advantage over the other started very early on. So, Trish is pretty happy, right? I'm getting spoiled with toys, eating all the food I want whenever I want, and flying to California for vacations 3 times a year. There are some issues, but my mental health is still pretty intact. I'm not seeing objects that don't exist. Not yet. That is the end of chapter 1. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts, ideas, how I could improve, because I'm going to go to chapter 2. It's only 80 pages, so anything you'd like to share on how I could improve, I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you with the next one soon, right? Real soon. Thank you. Bye.